What up, y'all? It is Alex, and today we are breaking down in a beautiful place out in the country by Boards of Canada. This is actually our sixth Boards of Canada breakdown, so if you haven't seen the other ones, I'll put a link up above. But yeah, I did it a long time ago, so there's six now, so hopefully you enjoy this. You can fast forward to the video if you'd like. Otherwise, real quick, here is the Patreon plug from myself. So as you know, I only make about $10 or so a month on YouTube. It's really not much at all. Patreon is where it's at. That really helps me. Patreon's a site where you can chip in like a dollar a month or more. It depends on what you want to do. Goes directly to me, and it really just helps support me and keep the channel, or it just really helps. And you can get a lot of cool bonus material there. You can get private lessons from myself. You can get samples that I recorded, like ambient spots. You can also get track feedback and other stuff. So go ahead and look into it. Patreon, link in the description. I really appreciate it. And there's also a new competition for the next week, or at least until the end of September. Whoever is a Patreon at tier $3 and up will be put into basically you can get a mix from me for really cheap. How it's going to work is whoever is a Patreon tier of $3 and up is going to be like in a raffle, and y'all can submit a track to me, and then I'll choose one of them through like a random thing, or I don't know how I'll choose it. I'm going to choose one mix though, and then I will mix the track for you and send it to you. The only thing is you let me make a YouTube video about it. So I'm going to talk about your mix in a video, and I'll give you detailed feedback on the mix. I don't have to mention your name if you don't want. But yeah, that's going on until the end of September 2022. Whoever is a $3 and above Patreon tier will be able to be part of this. Yeah, so $3 and up, you get a chance to get a mix from myself, and that's the deal. So okay, hope you're doing well. Enjoy the video, and thank you so much. Bye-bye. Real quick, we're having a pretty simple intro with just this chord progression and some some kids laughing sort of samples. I want to point out the chord progression is a 5-bar loop, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, I say that because often I feel like 1, 2, 4, 8, or 16 are probably like the most common, at least from what I see. But here we got a 5, so that's just kind of interesting to note. It's just going to repeat a few times, and we're going to have a very simple drum pattern coming, which is just kick and snare. That's slowly going to rise up and start to join the party. And yeah, I just want to note, I feel like these pads and the kids, you get such like a mystical, kind of like maybe melancholic, looking back type of vibe. At least that's part of what I feel. And yeah, it's just interesting. So let's keep listening and see what happens with the arrangement. You'll notice that there's like some reverb happening on some snares. So the snare does have a delay on it as well. You can hear that. And you'll hear some reverb on these snares. That's going to be a common thing throughout the song. You're going to have reverb coming in and out on the snares, which helps create some variation, and you'll see it can do some interesting things like emotionally later.
In
So before we talk about this, basically all we had was the drums rising in, and then we do the chord progression. Basically, just do that about twice with the full beat in, and well, the full beat meaning just with all the percussion in. We're gonna have bass come later. Then we have this little break off. So it's nice, like sometimes when you have like drums and percussion going with a chord progression to then drop all the drums, just let the chords ring out again. And then we have in this vocoded vocal thing, which says, I think it says come out. Let's see what it says again. Come out and live in a religious community. I think it's like come out and live in a religious community in a beautiful place out the country. Something like that. Come out and live in a religious community in a beautiful place out the country. But yeah, I feel like, let me listen to something real quick. I hear at the end of this, you hear a like right there. I'm guessing, I don't know, it seems to be part of the vocal sample because it's happening at the end every time. Right, so that's kind of an interesting sound to hear. But okay, so now we have the vocal sample play, the drums come back in, so it took a little rest to let the vocal be like highlighted. And so now we have the beat playing as before, but now with the vocals. And then pretty simple up ahead, we're basically just going to let the beat play again, add the vocal sample again, and then we're going to bring bass in. And we've only heard like a full loop of the drums and pads by themselves, like when the drums are fully on. Let's see. Only once. This is why I said it kind of happens twice over here, because like it's full on here and then it's full on here, but then the drums drop out. So we haven't like heard this like 100 billion times, so maybe that's why it's like cool to do this again. But yeah, this sounds pretty nice. And then we're gonna just do the vocal sample again, and then let's keep going. Come out and live in a religious community in a beautiful place out the country. Okay, so look how the reverb is coming in on the snare again. We have the bass coming in. I feel like this bass like takes us a little bit deeper into the track for me. Like it pulls me, particularly like the chord progression, I guess. And then we have the reverb of the snare. I don't know, it just gives the track a little bit more atmosphere, less of like a driving sound and more of like a cerebral sort of floaty thing for me. But it's interesting to point out that having reverb on the snare like that can be a move you can do if you have a beat where it's mostly dry. You can make it wet sometimes, and that might create a different sort of feeling. Interesting how this is the first time we've had the vocal sample played with the bass with the full beat. So this is like a brand new loop here. And as I've said a million times, oftentimes with tracks, you get a few tracks that work well together. Like in this case, we have 8 here. And then throughout the track, you're just having different combinations of those 8 tracks, which gives you like different sound palettes to listen to. So this is our first time having this sound palette. And then over here, we're going to have the first time that we get the bass with the kicks and mostly dry snares. I know the snare is still delaying, but it's dry in the sense that there's no reverb on it. Because over here, the snares were louder, or louder in the sense that they had more reverb. They were more wet. That's a different vibe than this. Right. Now we're going to bring in a second synth, or I guess a third maybe if we're counting pads and bass. And I guess this vocoder is sort of a synth, but whatever. We're going to bring in this synth here. It's going to play another melody, and then we're going to have a whole new combination of sounds here. That's so beautiful, right? But basically, after this melody drops out, we come back to the groove, but now the second part, or at least like this last 40% of those vocals are just really soaked in reverb, and it sounds like they're maybe like high pass. It kind of just turns into reverb and delay, or just reverb, but really beautiful. And then that, I feel like as that wipes out, we then get this just the beat again to kind of like reflect on that. Real quick, so on this section, once again, we just dropped out the drums, had the whole vocal thing verbed out, and then we had the bass line and pads, new combination. I don't think we've ever had bass line and pads with no drums before. We've never had bass lines and pads with no drums and with a verb vocal. Basically, we just have this beautiful situation here. And long story short, I mean, this track doesn't really have like A sections and B sections, at least the way I view it. We have one chord progression that happens the entire time. Then we have a few different combinations of sounds that work on top of it. And we basically just ride that out for like 5.5 minutes and do a few different combinations, but nothing too crazy, just a kick, just a snare, then a bass line, pads, a synth line, a vocoder line, and then some kids laughing and stuff. Pretty simple in some ways, but very beautiful. Basically, we have this ending synth, but basically, yeah, we're just going to return. We're going to have this synth play again, go into one more vocal, then have a little fade out with this ending synth, and the track's going to fade out. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to say here. At least, there's not a whole lot I want to say right now. This is obviously a beautiful track, and even though in some ways it's very simple, there's a reason why not everyone makes a track this good. So let's just listen to this to the end, and we'll see if I have anything else to say. Again, please check out my Patreon if you want to get, if you want to like help support me. I really don't make almost any money on YouTube. It's like $9 to $11 a month. every month. And yeah, Patreon's great because you can even just chip in $1. That really helps. That's a tenth of what I would make on YouTube for the month. But check it out. You could get some cool other material there. I can teach you private lessons. I can give you track feedback. I can give you a bunch of cool samples, like some ambient samples I've recorded. A lot of cool stuff. So check that out. And yeah, let's finish this up. And thanks so much for watching. Here we go. All right, that's basically it. Again, here's that ending synth one more time. Just beautiful stuff. This whole track's gorgeous. Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Comment below if you have any questions, and like this. If you can't do Patreon, please share this with a friend. Please share it in a Reddit group. Please share it to a Facebook group. Share it wherever you can. That really helps me. But cool. Appreciate it, y'all. Have a good day, and adios.